What's up everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for stopping by to watch this Dazzled or Disappointed on the new Heavy Metals eyeshadow palette by Urban Decay. I picked mine up directly from the Urban Decay website, but just so that you know, I know a lot of you like to get your points on the Ulta or Sephora website. This one is available at Ulta, not Sephora, but you are able to get your points through Ulta if you so decide. That did launch on their website today, which is Sunday the 15th. And so I, like I said, did pick mine up directly from the Urban Decay website, have had time to play with it, to test it out. I'm wearing it today, so of course we'll zoom you in to show you what I did with this. So let's just jump right into this review so that you can take a look and see if this palette is going to be right for you. So the box comes in their typical Urban Decay purple, and it has like this foiled effect. You see those kind of waves. It's really, really nice. Just says Urban Decay Heavy Metals, and then on the back it has a picture of the eyeshadows and their shades, as well as a description. So I will read that description to you here shortly. This is what the palette looks like. It is so unique. It's something that I don't think anybody has done before. It's not your typical open the flap up. This is just completely flat. It's got like these waves on this side, and then it's flat on this side. And then you push it to the side and it opens up, and literally you just pull this out and your mirror is in the middle. Can you see that? So you've got your neutrals on one side and your jewel tones on another side, which I think is really neat. It's really unique. It does take up a little bit more space than your typical palette that you would open up, but I think it's pretty neat. As you know, I do like unique things for especially the holidays. So let me read you the back of what the box says. It says, Hard Rock has nothing on heavy metals. We packed this limited edition palette with 20 of our most amped up metallic shadows yet, and every single one is new and exclusive. Inject your look with a hint of glam rock for daytime, or go full on metal for a night out. From standout jewel tones like Amp, which is a killer metallic teal, and Twisted, which is glimmering gold, to ultra flattering neutrals like Demo, which is a bronze rose, and After Party, an amazing metallic red. This palette has everything you need to create endless metallic looks, and it's all organized by color, brights on the left, neutrals on the right, which I really do like that. Also, I do want to point out, and I'm going to read this directly from the Urban Decay website. This apparently is a brand new formula. It says, what sets heavy metals apart? We developed a whole new eyeshadow formula for this palette. We bumped up the foiled effect to create our most metallic shadows ever. In doing so, we carefully crafted the formula on every shade to make sure each one would apply with a soft and creamy texture and create intense, shiny, metallic effects. I will come back to that here in just a little bit to let you know if that is a true claim. Every shade has a velvety feel for the perfect application, provides insane color payout, and blends like a dream. So this palette is $55. I think mine was like $59 and change with tax, and that is the same, of course, for the Ulta website. So let's just go ahead and open this up so that you can kind of take a look up close, and I can give you swatches of these. So as described, you have got the jewel tones right here, and you've got the neutrals right here. So let me take you up close and personal. You're going to see the camera in the mirror because the mirror is right here. But there you go. There's the camera. So that's what that looks like. I'm going to show you a little bit more up close. Right there. So that's what those look like. Let me go ahead and take you through swatches. Let's go ahead and do the neutral side first, and then we'll move on to the jewel tone side. Okay, and then as a side note, because I know so many brands now in their palettes, they're putting the names on the little, you know, plastic protector. These names are actually on the palette itself, which makes it nice. But here are the first four neutral shades. We have Base, Glory, Demo, and Starfire. And then as a reminder, my swatches are one swipe across the hand, and look at that payoff with one swipe across the hand. That's intense. The next four on the neutral side are After Party, Angel Fire, Rhody, and Maiden. Angel Fire is actually not, it's probably the only one I have found in the palette to not really be opaque. It's more of like a topper, and so you'll notice that here shortly. It's like a pinky shell type shade, but it's not very opaque. So that would go best over a, you know, darker shade, but that's what those look like right there. For the last two on the neutral side, you've got Scream and Acoustic. Now we're moving on to the pops of color, to those jewel tone shades. So here are the first four on that side. You've got Ground, Aluminum, Spandex, and Dive. And I feel like the jewel tone shades are more what Urban Decay is known for. I have always loved Urban Decay because of their pops of color, and I feel like they really showcase that on this side of the palette. So that's what those look like. I did a bad swatch on Dive, so I had to go in with a little bit more, just so that you know Spandex is what I am wearing on my lid today. In addition to, I topped the middle portion of my lid with a shadow from the Rihanna Fenty Galaxy Eyeshadow palette. So once I zoom you in, I'll kind of give you the breakdown on that. But I am wearing that today, and that color payoff is amazing. Next four are Metalhead, Punk Rock, Mullet, and Amp. And I'll probably say that Punk Rock and Mullet are probably I would say my two least favorite of the palette, just because they're not as bright and they're not as intense. They're still very pretty. It's just they're not my favorite of the entire palette, but I will tell you this one is, and that one is called Amp. That's that intense teal shade, and it is beautiful. And if you apply it wet, the payoff is, it's just intensified on another level. So that's what those look like right there. And then we've got the last two, a gold and a silver, called Twisted and Glam Rock. So you probably noticed there are two silvers in this palette, this being the lighter silver, and then Aluminum is the darker silver. In fact, I will swatch it again so that you can see what the difference is. But here are the two silvers, this one being a bright, almost like a holiday silver, and this is a more I guess like a foil paper type silver, but it's kind of nice that they included both. I'm not usually a fan of repetitive shades, but I feel like those are different enough, with the darker being more of like a smoky eye type, to justify both of them being in here. So here is what they look like. It's like you can tell it's like a gray silver right there and then a bright silver right there. So that's what those look like, and that finalizes all the shades for this palette. Okay, that brings us to the end of the swatches. So I don't know if I mentioned this, there are 20 eyeshadow shades in this palette, 10 on each side, so 10 for the brights or the jewel tones and 10 for the neutrals. Let me bring you in so that I can tell you what I am wearing before I take you into thoughts and forget. Okay, so that is a little too close. Okay, let's try that. So on the lid, I have got, like I told you, I've got Spandex, which is that darker purple, and in the center of my lid, I have got one of the Rihanna Fenty eyeshadows because I wanted to kick up the sparkle to another notch, so that's why that looks extra sparkly in the center of the lid. And then on the lower lash line, I have the brighter silver, which is called Glam Rock. In the corner, I have Amp, which is that bright teal, and then I have got, on top of that, I've got Glam Rock, which is that silver, so it kind of gave it more of a silvery teal type look. I will tell you that other than the lower lash line, which I applied dry, I applied everything else with a wet brush, which intensified the look so much more. Now these apply beautifully, let me zoom you back out. These apply beautifully dry, but they apply so much more intense with a wet brush. A lot of times these kind of shades don't apply as well unless you apply them with your finger, and I have found them to apply very, very well with a brush, and especially a wet brush, or a damp brush, I should say. Now I want to go back to the claim of the description of it being, you know, intensified, or, you know, the metallic shades with a velvety, creamy texture, because sometimes that can be hit or miss, and I will tell you that is absolutely true. These are so creamy, probably some of the creamiest metallic shades I have ever come across. They're very, very soft to the touch, they're very buttery, and what I like is that usually when I swatch real buttery shades for you guys and I sweep them across my hand, they get kind of crumbly, but even though they apply fine with, you know, onto the lid, these don't do that. Once I, you know, rubbed my finger in there, swiped it on my hand, no crumbles whatsoever, which was really, really nice, and doesn't happen very often. So very, very creamy, very buttery, very intense color payoff. And I will tell you that most of these have some sort of like micro shimmer in there. So if you are not a fan of any kind of shimmer or any kind of glitter, then you will not like this palette, because most of these have that in their formula, kind of like the Anastasia Prism. It's got like a it's not a loose glitter that sits on top of the shade that will crumble down. It's actually like a micro shimmer that's built within the formula of the eyeshadow that makes it so nice because you don't have to use a glitter glue, which I have found that I do not have to use a glitter glue with this. I simply put on my eyeshadow primer. Now I did put glitter glue in the center of my lid today because I went in with the Rihanna eyeshadow palette, which I will be filming that review after this one. So that will be posting probably a day or two after you watch this video. But that's what makes it really nice, because you can still have that intense sparkle factor without needing the glitter glue. So the only downside, which to me isn't a downside, I'm going to relay this as a downside probably to a lot of you, because I've told you time and time again, I would love it if they came out with a palette of all standout shades, like the glittery, sparkly, intense shades, and this is right up my alley. Now, a lot of y'all don't like a palette if it doesn't have like the mattes or the transition shades, and I will tell you that you will have to use a separate palette in order to make a complete look. I had to use the Tartelette palette, or I used the Tartelette in Bloom, but I grabbed my mattes out of there, which, I mean, to me, I don't care. That's fine. I don't mind having to use 2, even 3 separate palettes to complete a look, but the fact that this has everything as far as like my standout shades in one go-to is perfect for me. You can probably already tell I am dazzled by this palette. I think it's amazing. I think the price tag of $55 is really worth it, because you're getting a bunch of those types of shades that are really going to pop. So again, just like I had mentioned with the Anastasia Prism palette, I think this is a go-to for holiday, because it is going to have all the shades you need, minus your transition and matte shades, of course. It's going to have all the shades you need in order to have a really awesome holiday look, which a lot of people are going for right now. So I think this is probably my favorite Urban Decay palette that has been released in the past. Actually, no. The Heat palette, the Naked Heat palette, is probably my favorite from the past few years of Urban Decay releases. I just haven't really been on the Urban Decay bandwagon. I have bought their releases, but just not really super wowed. And so the Naked Heat is probably my favorite, but this runs a close second. This one is really amazing if you've been looking for those really metallic pops of color, and it's got the neutrals too, so if you want those, kind of what I told you I was missing in that Becca eyeshadow palette, that I thought it would be a little bit more glowy, a little more intense, this has that. And so it has it on both sides. It's got the neutrals and the pops of color, so if you're looking for that metallic glow on your eyes, look no further. This is it. And I, again, highly suggest using your brush damp in order to get the best color payoff. Okay guys, that brings us to the end of the review. I am happy to say that that was a Dazzled. Before I let you go, I need to give you the verse of the day, and today's comes from Deuteronomy 30:20, and it says, "Love the Lord your God, listen to his voice, and hold fast to him, for the Lord is your life." All right guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you stopping by. I hope you're having a wonderful week. I will see you in the very next review, which I already told you is going to be the Rihanna Fenty Beauty Galaxy eyeshadow palette. I feel like that was such a long title. Anyways, that's coming here in the next couple of days, so stay tuned. Thank you again for watching. Take care. I'll see you soon.